think, I mean, and what you've heard in the last 2 days here, do you think the Europeans are realistic enough about China, or still a bit naive in certain areas?
When you said that Europe should grow out of the mentality that Europe's problems are the world's problem, that the world's problem is not Europe's problem, I don't know how many times I have used that.
You know, you have no idea how many times that quotation has been thrown back at me. Try to put yourself in the shoes of the other party.
Another country that is looking to exploit the current, exploit is a loaded word. Another country is looking to find opportunities in the current geopolitical dislocation is China. How does India sort of make sure that it's taking advantage but also keeping an eye on China? How much does China's actions play into yours?
Look, China, I mean, it's an obvious fact, but still I have to say it. China is an immediate neighbor.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a neighbor with whom also we have an unsettled boundary. So that's a big factor in our relations. We have a situation where China and India, who are, who stand out because they're the only two countries with over 1 billion people, but also because they are two civilizational states in a way. They have, you see a kind of a parallel rise. The Chinese started their modernization ahead of us because I think we had at that time governments perhaps who didn't do what they should have done in those early years. But be that as it may, you have a rise of China, you have a rise of India.
Sure.
Now each one is creating a certain new equilibrium between them and the world, the rising power in the world. And then a much more complex equilibrium between the two rising powers, who also happen to be neighbors and who sometimes have common neighbors as well. Yeah. So it is an incredibly complicated matrix. And there are different dimensions to it. There's the boundary dimension to it. There's the balances, if you would. There are economic issues, trade issues. There are, concerns. I mean, we are in a way different economic, social values, political models as well.
Very much, yes.
Yeah. So I think when you look at this relationship, it's far more textured and complicated than it would appear at first sight, where people really think that, you have this country and that country, and one will balance the other, one will sort of set off the other.
Do you think, I mean, and what you've heard in the last 2 days here, do you think the Europeans are realistic enough about China, or still a bit naive in certain areas?
Well, look, I would honestly would have said no, but I would caveat that answer. I think when I've been coming to Europe, I've come to Europe many years ago, sure, but pretty much continuously now for about 15 years. Okay, Europe 15 years ago, even 10 years ago, was in a very different place. So I would point to a certain evolution in Europe's position and stance. But I would also make the point it's a very differentiated picture. Not all of Europe is obviously moving on the same speed and on the same wavelength. So there are some which have a different view, some who are more hard-headed. I would make that distinction.
Vis-a-vis China now?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like sort of where we were with Russia 15 years ago as well. Europe.
Okay, you said it. I don't disagree.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. You've also agreed to take a couple of questions from the audience. We'll take 2 at the same time. There are floating mics if someone could put their hand up. The quicker you can ask the question, we have a lady here in the second row. If you'd like to just tell the question, I can make sure Dee can hear it.
Can anybody hear?
Yeah, I can hear you, so that's fine.
More important, I can hear you.
Yeah, exactly.
His Excellency, my name is Barçın Naçar from Turkey. back in 2022 when you said that Europe should grow out of the mentality that Europe's problems are the world's problem, that the world's problem is not Europe's problem. I don't know how many times I have used this quotation giving respect to the copyrights, but the question is, do you see signs that Europe is growing up of that mentality? Because it's really difficult to get out of this mentality.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to ask just one. So, other.
What should be their limitations and assets? You can answer, you can go on.
Okay. You know, you have no idea how many times that quotation has been thrown back at me. But I do want to say this. We are now in 2025. And I think there's been a big change where Europe is concerned in these 3 years. In a way, it answers the last question. And here's my point, which is, look, a large part of being on your own, or being part of a multipolar architecture.
Yeah.
One is to sort of realize your own capabilities and limitations and compulsions and relationships. So you're more self-reliant in a way. But the other part of it is also to try to put yourself in the shoes of the other party. It's not easy to do. Look, I know Russia is a big issue right now. Your last observation was when you asked me. So is that true of Russia as well? My honest answer to you is, I don't think I don't think many Europeans had a good sense of how the Russians felt about the relationship or about the direction of events. When people, say, oh, we didn't see that coming, you normally don't see that coming. I'm not justifying anything, sure. Okay? I'm just saying that in international relations, if you have to be a good practitioner, if you have to do well even for your own country or for your own group of countries, it's smart to try to understand the thinking processes, the interests, the anxieties, the behavioral traits of other parties. And I certainly didn't see that, I would say, in respect of Russia also. So, in fact, often, the narrative you hear from Russia is so starkly different about, let us say, the evolution of Europe after 1992. Europe has one version, or much of Europe has one version. Russia has a very different version. The point, the quotation which was recalled was more like, okay, look, worry about the rest of us as well. I mean, we folks in Asia and Africa and Latin America, we're also taking a hit at that time, 2022, on energy, on food prices, on fertilizers. So spare some thought to us, and when you make your decisions, factor that in. That was the intent then. But the larger point I would make is, in a multipolar world, one is, of course, in a way, you're more selfish, but you also have to be more realistic and some ways smarter in trying to, it's more of a chess game. You've got to see many more moves ahead, which means you've got to be able to have the ability to read the minds of the other players as well.
Mr. Minister, thank you so much for your time. Thank you.